Deltarune is a great game. I've poured hundreds of hours into the game, but that wasn't enough for me. So I came up with a terrible idea. I'm trying to beat Deltarune without ever using Ralsei. We've already beaten chapters 1, 2 and 3, and we're on to the final released chapter as of now, chapter 4. But just beating Deltarune without Ralsei felt a bit boring. So there are some extra rules that I have to abide by. First, no armor or weapons can ever be equipped. This means that our defense and attack stats will be extremely low, making battles much more challenging. Next, I can't use consumable items at all. This means no healing or free TP from various items. Finally, I have to do everything I can to recruit and spare all enemies, in order to keep our maximum HP at the minimum, since you gain HP from defeating enemies through violence. Can I beat the 4th chapter of Deltarune without using Ralsei? Well, you're about to find out. Also, this is a pretty new channel, so if you enjoyed the video, make sure you check out the rest of the challenge, as well as subscribe, since it would really make my day. Thanks. Anyway, on to... After waking up on Toriel's chair, I decided to skip the entire Lightworld sequence. This was for a few reasons. First, this takes an incredibly long time, and doesn't offer any action throughout, so it's quite boring to replay after you've already finished it. Second, since there are no battles during the sequence, Ralsei won't have to be used at all, since he doesn't exist in the Lightworld. Third, since I wasn't on the Snowgrave route, I didn't need to go to Noelle's house in order to continue the hidden route. So, the smart choice here was to immediately go back to sleep, which would send us to the church's Dark World, completely skipping the long Lightworld sequence. After meeting up with Susie and completing a simple puzzle, we met our old rival, the Roaring Knight. If you've watched my previous video, you'll know that this knight gave me so much trouble last time, and literally made me waste countless hours fighting it. Anyway, this part was simple. Just run down the hallway until you either reach the knight or, you know, die trying. Either way, you would progress the storyline as normal. After reuniting with Ralsei, the challenge finally, truly began. The first enemy we encountered was Gui. I absolutely despised this fight. This is because the main way to spare this enemy was through using the act Exorcism with Chris in order to tire them out, then using Pacify with Ralsei. However, we couldn't do that because, again, we can't use Ralsei. Since the Exorcism Act only contributed 20% to the mercy bar of one Gui, this fight took a long time. While I was able to spare with Susie in order to progress the fight just a little faster, I wasn't able to use Susie's S action, since we were forced to skip the Cap and Cakes fight back in chapter 2 that usually teaches Susie and Ralsei how to act, in order to avoid Ralsei being used during that mandatory mini-boss. And so, after surviving many, and I mean many, attacks, we managed to spare the two enemies. I will also add here that chapter 4 is by far the chapter I am worst at. I probably have the least amount of playtime on this chapter alone, since it is one of the more recent releases, and also has many more unique bullet patterns and quirks compared to the other chapters. However, even after beating the Gui, I wasn't sure if there was another battle with them later, and in order to recruit them, I would need to spare one more. Plus, I was already at low health from the fight, so I decided to go back to the save point in order to heal, as well as spare enough Guis to recruit them, which again took a long time. After walking around and exploring for a bit, we encountered someone new, Balthazard. this fight was easy in comparison to the fight with Gwei, as you could use X Shake with Susie or just the regular Shake with Chris in order to gain loads of mercy. With this method, you could spare them both after just 3 turns. Furthermore, their attacks are really easy to avoid, so I was able to breeze right past this fight. After roaming in the darkness and getting chased, we met the big man himself, Gerson Boom. This guy will come to be indescribably important in the future, as he becomes Susie's mentor, and is also surprisingly the secret boss of Chapter 4. So, after refighting Balthazar and solving a simple puzzle, we entered Gerson's study. A fight with another one of these guys, huh? Yet again, this fight was mind-numbingly boring. But in the end, we managed to beat them, and finally reached the study. This is basically the hub for this chapter, where there are many branching paths. You'll grow to be familiar to this place as we complete the chapter's puzzle for the secret boss. However, in order to reach the puzzle, we first needed to progress to the point where we could obtain the climb clause from Jackenstein in order to climb walls and activate the secret boss. After travelling north for a bit, we encountered 2 Biblocks. These guys were a piece of cake, since Chris can use the act Proofread in order to gain 100% mercy, then Susie can use Spare on the same turn to recruit it, easily sparing them, ending the fight in just 2 turns. After completing a simple puzzle and collecting the 2 parts of the piano code, we reached the fight with Jackenstein. This mini-boss is where you get introduced to Courage. It's these little small yellow things that give TP when collected. The way to progress this fight is to obtain enough TP to use the act Unleash, which allows you to shine light on Jackenstein and eventually spare him after 3 unleashes. During Jackenstein's attacks, apart from having absolutely fabulous music, I mean just listen to it! You need to collect a key in order to escape and end the attack, while picking up as much courage as you can to save up for Unleash. Not having Ralsei in this fight just means that we can't use Defend with him to get extra TP, but apart from that, the fight just progressed as normal, and after enough Unleashes, Jackenstein was spared. After turning on the lights and watching Susie take a lesson from Gerson, we obtained the Climb Clause. After practicing some climbing, I decided to first progress the story by heading right, instead of doing the puzzle for the secret boss. Climbed up, and encountered Mizzle. This fight is pretty easy, but only if you play your cards right. By spamming the Dazzle act with Chris, you could contribute 35% of their mercy bar. However, by sparing one of them, their attacks actually got harder. I got around this by getting them both up to 100% mercy without sparing them, then using Chris and Susie to spare them both at the same time, making for an easy victory. After watching Chris perform a beautiful piece of music, the previously locked door to the fountain opened. Instead of going through, however, we still needed to beat the secret boss. So, we backtracked to Balthazar in order to recruit it, and climbed our way to the first part of the puzzle for the secret boss. This room just requires you to find your way through the maze of statues until you find the rightmost person, who will open a path to the first part of the Golden Piano's code, needed to open the secret door for the secret boss. Next, we had to scale a gigantic wall, and right at the end, you would encounter the Holy Water Cooler. This was an advanced version of the previous water cooler seen in Chapter 3. Here, I opted to use the act Beg for Help with Chris, which gives you a free heal as well as increasing the mercy bar of the water cooler. This can be used a whole 2 times, but after that, it refuses to give you mercy and heal you, requiring you to use other acts such as Flirt. By using Flirt with Chris, Spare with Susie, and missing attacks with Ralsei, we managed to chip away at the mercy bar of the Holy Water Cooler. After the water cooler reaches 50% mercy, it changes form into Miss Mizzle, which is a stronger version of the regular Mizzle. Just deal with it how you would a normal Mizzle, by spamming Dazzle and Spare with Chris and Susie respectively, and the fight was over, giving us the second part of the Golden Piano's code. Finally, we had to enter the secret pathway behind the waterfall, where we climbed a wall of bells in the dark, and finished an escape sequence in order to unlock the final part of the Golden Piano's code. After climbing up to the Golden Piano and inputting the code, the secret door finally opened, allowing us to enter the secret boss area of Chapter 4. But before you see me fighting the secret boss, there was something that I needed to do. After beating Chapter 4, if you reload your save file, you can re-enter Castletown, where there was yet another secret boss you could fight, Mike. However, I had never even seen this boss before, and had only heard about it through word of mouth. So attempting the fight without any equipment, and without using consumables or Ralsei, would be very ambitious. But it also seemed extremely fun, so I decided to give it a go. For some reason, since I was using a MacBook to play the boss fight, I had to instead use the button input over the microphone input, due to compatibility issues which I tried to solve for about an hour. But that's fine, because it's a sound-based boss fight. What else are you gonna use? Sound? Didn't think so. Entering the mic boss fight, I was concerned. I have never been that good at playing fights completely blind before, and doing so without any equipment or items didn't seem like a good idea. That was before I realized that their attacks were surprisingly easy to avoid. Since there was only one button input, it was really easy to avoid most attacks, up until the mouse cursor was unlocked. However, this was pretty easy as well, since it was just aiming your cursor at the cats. So, through the power of spam clicking, I was able to easily defeat this boss. Here are a few clips of my live reactions to this boss. That's not Mike? Scam? Oh my days. Oh, we just leave. No. What'd I miss? No, what did I missed something. I know I did. Huh? That's it? Hello? Is that it? Is it literally just a microphone? Anyway, that's all for today. Hopefully part 2 will be out soon, but the fights have not been easy. And I also just didn't want to make a 40-minute long video. Thanks for watching, and if you want to support the channel, then please consider subscribing, as it helps out a ton. See you soon.